In this video we play as 36-year-old Arthur Morgan. Obviously the age wasn't really necessary, but I just thought I'd add it in. But another thing is that Arthur is known to roam with the Vandalin gang, and as usual every gang has its enemy, but for this one it is the O'Driscoll gang. So the Vandalin gang don't really like the O'Driscolls, so they are currently at war. Obviously there was a bit of backstory, but I don't want to spoil the game in case you want to play it, which means I won't be showing that much. But this game is really good with its scenery and mass murder. Really depends what you like. Obviously, if you do like the video, could you please subscribe? And I suppose I will just start the video before the mass murder starts. So I advise you not to become Jeffrey Dahmer or George W. Gacy. Here we are in the world of Red Dead Redemption 2 in the year 1899. Obviously, this year did really suck, especially when we are in the snowy cold mountains of Coulter. Yes, you heard me, Coulter. Obviously, it is quite cold because it's a snowstorm, which is quite unfortunate if you ask me. Obviously, I live in a place where it does not really snow. I'd say it snows like twice a year, so I don't really know what snow looks like. Mainly because whenever it does snow, I'm usually inside. But now, it's time to meet our characters. Dutch Vandalin, the gang leader, and one of the best villains, I'd say. Hosea Matthews, one of the best characters in Red Dead 2, and the personal reverend of Bill Swanson. Don't know if I pronounced that right. If I did not, I am sorry. But obviously they're in the middle of talking about some big plans. So, obviously it is kind of sad, but at least we get to meet some of the characters right here, right now. And one of the best protagonists, Arthur Morgan, gets introduced. But in my own opinion, John Marston is the best protagonist. Obviously, Arthur just found a shelter. And this might be a long video, I'm very much aware of that. At the point I'm editing this, it is currently a 41-minute video. Obviously I'm going to be cutting some out, just so it is much more shorter. And just so I don't need to edit 40 minutes worth of video, and obviously that'd be fairly annoying. They end up checking out the place to see if it is fit enough for them to live in. Obviously there was no one there because it is abandoned, and it appears to Hosea that it is very well to live in, which is quite nice. And we get to meet some more characters. A character who reminds me of Laurie Grimes from The Walking Dead, Abigail Roberts, and I'll be honest, she does. But we also meet Bill Williamson, who's around about 30s. Don't know exactly how old he is, but who really cares? But later we also meet Tilly Jackson. Obviously she never shows up in Red Dead 1. Don't know why though. But we also see a young Jack Marston, who is around about 8 years old around this time. It's kind of crazy on how a young kid turned into a cold-blooded murderer. I suppose all things can change within 20 years. So you can't really blame him. But obviously, we're also going to have to meet the boss of the camp, Suzanne Grimshaw, who's actually one of the greatest characters. I will say that. Even though she's strict, she's still a good character. So nobody can really hate her. Obviously, we hear some sad news. Really sad. Kind of wish that did not happen. But we also meet a Davy Calendar. Obviously, we do hear of his brother, but we never meet him. But Dutch is doing the usual. We're too cold, but I gotta keep this place positive. Speech. Or see, we can't really blame him. He's a leader. But we also meet a Simon Pearson, which is actually pretty cool. He's a chef. Don't know why he decided to be a chef. I don't get how he went from being in the army to being a chef. Right here we also meet Uncle, or also known as Red Harlow, according to some people's belief. Obviously you don't know if that is true, but it probably is. Knowing the community, it does weird things. But anyways, I'm just going to skip the boring section and just get to the fun parts. Obviously we get into the game and start riding, where we also see Davy's cross on the map, which is just saying he's dead. Obviously it's going through the boring tutorial that no one really likes. Let's just be honest. If you say you like the tutorial, you're weird. Unless for it's Minecraft. It makes sense if it's Minecraft. Those tutorials were fun. But obviously soon we're going to be meeting one of the worst characters of all time, who no one literally likes. And when I say no one likes, I mean no one likes. Dutch notices someone in the distant snowstorm. And when I say distant snowstorm, it is kind of disappointing on who it ended up being. Because it ended up being Micah the White Bell the second. Which is really disappointing. Because we don't know what he ends up doing. So, obviously, Micah introduces himself as the local rat. But he also managed to find people who are having a party without us, which is quite disrespectful. So obviously, me and Dutch, as well as Micah, decided to crash the party. So obviously, we end up riding down there. We ride down there, and I start hitching my horse. And then I decide to walk through the trees, just to be a dick. I mean, technically I'm not being a dick because I'm getting snow off the trees. So I suppose that's more of a favor. But I get told to follow Dutch. I don't know why. But I guess I gotta do what the game tells me to do. Obviously, I end up crouching just to try and be suspicious. But then, obviously, I start walking to a cabin because Dutch told me so. And it's really annoying. Obviously, he doesn't really appear on the map, but I know he's telling me that because I played this game 3 bloody times. Which is annoying. I will say that. Obviously, it seems like that the wife has a secret boyfriend. Obviously, that's pretty obvious because there's a guy sneaking at the back. So, I suppose the secret boyfriend and the husband should have a chat. But then again, he seems to be aiming at his gun, so that actually could be the husband. We don't know that. But then I get told to protect Dutch, so I grab out my revolver and start shooting people. And their tomato sauce ends up going everywhere. How disrespectful. Obviously, I end up making this guy spill more tomato sauce. And obviously I'm saying tomato sauce so I don't get a strike. So I'm being smart. Obviously, I don't know where he got that much tomato sauce, but he must have robbed the tomato factory. I don't know. It's a Driscoll game. They must love tomatoes. But you really never know in this world. I start to search the house, but it turns out that there's no guy here. So, I guess that they're all from Alabama. So, then where's Sweet Home Alabama? That's why it is nowhere to be found. Cause in this era, Sweet Home Alabama did not exist. The song did not even remotely exist till the 1980s, I think. Arthur finds some meat, so he decides to take it. Now that I think about it, that did kinda sound suspicious, but who really cares? Dutch unfortunately tells me to search the barn, so I grab out my gun, just in case, if there's a little Timmy there. Don't want an S.J. shanking you, that's of course, but don't really know if S.J.'s really existed back then, but then again, you really never know. Don't want any Timmys shanking you. Because they always say S.J., which is very annoying. So, which is why I don't listen to Chillin' It. It turns out that there is a little Timmy here, and he tries to shank me. I say, yeah, nah, yeah, nah, yeah, nah. I will not allow you to do that. So then, me and little Timmy get into a fight. But it turns out it actually wasn't S.J. It was an O'Driscoll. So I just continue punching him in the face, just cause why not? It turns out that he is actually related to 6ix9ine because he ends up snitching where his own family is. Which is kinda annoying. Why snitch where your family is? So, clearly, 6ix9ine is here. Why don't we dye his hair multiple colors and call him 6ix9ine? Obviously, I do the honorable act and punch him in the face. Once. Or twice. I don't know how many times I punch him in the face. But it turns out I only did it once. But then I decided to spare him. Just to try and hunt him down and kill him again. Because that's really what I wanted to do. But it sucks because the game will not let me kill him. Done. Red Dead Redemption. We end up start walking back to the house. But obviously, the dim-witted marker is inside the house. But obviously, we have to hitch the horse before we do anything. And then, obviously, someone starts shouting. We don't know who it is. But, anyways, it turns out to be a widow called Sadie Adler. Yes, that's her name, Sadie Adler. Isn't Adler Sadie? Isn't none of that. Her name is definitely Sadie Adler. Obviously, she seems to be quite young, early 20s at least, and she's just fallen off. But then she grabs a knife. Guess she's possibly an S.J. I may have heard her say S.J. bar. Obviously, turns out she actually is an S.J. because she didn't actually shank, which I'm surprised about. Anyways, Dutch tries to talk some sense to her, but then he ends up dying. Obviously, that is not the case, because he ends up appearing in the first game, which takes place in 1911 to 1914. Obviously, it is kind of sad how he survived, but I guess shit does happen. We wake up the next morning at the cabin.
where Arthur slept in last night, where we enter pursued by a memory, which is quite disappointing. Obviously, Arthur ends up coming in just to sit by the fire. And when Abigail decides to speak with him, saying, "Hey, could you rescue my John?" And then Arthur's like, "Yeah, nah, yeah, nah, yeah, nah, I won't do it." But then Abigail ends up convincing him, "Actually, I'm just kidding. Arthur doesn't really like women. Nah, I'm also kidding about that. He actually loves women." But it takes Hosea to be convincing Arthur to rescue Abigail's John. But then again, John is just a memory from Red Dead 1. But people are glad to see John in this game, so I suppose it was a good game. After a long ride, we eventually find John's deceased horse, which is kind of sad how his horse ended up dying. But I suppose we gotta find John. But at least we're looking for him. Kinda wish we didn't. But unfortunately, we have to start walking because our horses can't go down here. Really sad.
Obviously, sometimes walks can be a bit boring. This one is probably one of them. Mainly because Arthur just complains, so I just randomly shoot my gun multiple times. So I'll just skip the boring part. Eventually, we started walking, and then we found somebody. So this one's good at it, about how it turns out to be, because it ends up being John Marston, and yes, it is actually John with a bit of Vegemite on him. Kind of rude, right? Really rude. Obviously, we pick up John, and then we start walking. And John is fairly heavy. I actually don't know how old he is around this time as well. I think he's 20s. He's got to be at least in his 20s, but let's just be honest. He probably is really heavy, but probably not, because it did look like he did lose a lot of jam. Same goes for his horse, because it also looks like his horse did also lose a lot of jam, so we just continued walking. It looks like some wolves tried to attack John Marston and Arthur Morgan, but they actually do get Arthur Morgan, which he obviously spills some jam. Obviously, we end up getting the wolves to spill some jam, and then we just start riding off into the snow. Yes, into the snow. I'm surprised Arthur did not start singing whilst he was riding in the snow. Some more wolves start attacks, so then we have to make him spill even more jam. And honestly, saying jam is really annoying. I do honestly want to say what it actually is, but then again, I might get a bit of a strike. Because YouTube watches every video that releases, which is a true fact. Nobody knows how many copyright strikes I have actually gotten. No, claims. Yeah, copyright claims. But the reason why I'm being PG is just so I can have a more of a viewer audience, because nobody really likes a channel that swears too much. We end up start riding back to our beautiful home. Yes, it is multiple houses, so I suppose it's not really a home, it's just where we camp. But I don't get who would really camp in the house. Camping's meant to be outside, but then again, it is snowing. Abigail ends up being really happy to see her join most Javier just calls them idiots in Spanish. Yes, he did literally say idiotas, which, according to my knowledge, does actually mean idiot in Spanish. But something I just realized is I actually did just forget to introduce him to you guys. But his name is Javier Escuela, and he is a Mexican. He did come from Mexico, so yeah, that's something about him. But most of you guys probably know about him from Red Dead Redemption 1. And obviously, Arthur just likes talking to his family, I suppose you could call him. But we also meet her Strauss, one of the most annoying characters in this game. I honestly want to turn his lights off. That sounded a bit weird. But if most of you guys probably know what I actually meant by that, so Arthur's just writing in his diary. His diary ends up saying that he had to ride across half of America just to save John's ass. Yes, that is actually what it said. Well, I think it did, at least. But we end up seeing Dutch and Hosea, so I forgot their names for a second, talking about some plans, as usual. But obviously, I wouldn't show you the audio, it's just this clip has no audio. And I mean, it has no audio. Not because the audio broke or anything, it's just because I had to save this same video 3 different bloody times. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. I wish that did not happen. But anyways, I'm just gonna end the video here, because this looks like a good ending point. So goodbye, guys.